Good day everyone. I am Karthik Balaji P. I work at HCL as an associate consultant and I'm also undergoing my network VFPT internship with CyberSapiens. In this session, I will be presenting about the Metasploit Framework. So with that introduction, let me quickly take you through today's agenda. These are the topics we are going to cover. We will start with what Metasploit actually is, then move into the interface, the architecture, different module types, the basic command lab setup and the practical workflow. And moreover, we will also look at some real outputs and finally end up with best practices and reference. Alright, let's start with the first part. What is Metasploit? Metasploit is an open source penetration testing framework developed by Rapid7. It helps us identify and exploit vulnerabilities in a structured and automated way. One of the biggest advantages is that it comes with a huge collection of exploit, payloads and tools. Now that we know what is Metasploit, let's look at the interface it provides. Metasploit mainly provides MSF console, which is the primary CLI. We also have MSF Venom for generating a payloads. Hamtech was a GUI tool earlier, but it's not commonly used today. Most of the time we work with MSF console. Once we know the interfaces, the next thing is to understand how everything connects. So let's move to the next architecture. The architecture is commonly modular. We have MSF console and MSF Venom and all the different module categories. Metasploit also integrates with PostgreSQL to store information about host, services, vulnerabilities, and so on. Now moving forward, let's break down with the different module types. Metasploit modules are divided into several types. Exploit modules trigger vulnerabilities. Payloads run after exploitation. Auxiliary modules handle scanning, fuses, and other tools like brute force tools, etc. Post modules focus on privilege escalation or data gathering, and the final knobs are just padding instruction used to stabilize exploit in the payload and improving reliability. After understanding the modules, the next main thing is how we operate within Metasploit. So let's go to the MSF console. In MSF console, the flow is very simple. Start the console with MSF console command, search for a module, use it, check the option, set the parameters, and run the command run or exploit for the exploitation. This is the basic pattern for most operation in Metasploit. Once we know the console basic, the next important tool is MS Venom. So MS Venom is nothing but is used to create a payload. For example, we can create a Windows reverse shell executable by setting the payload, the our IP address, the port, and the output format. It's straightforward and very useful. Now let's move on to how Metasploit stores and organize the information. So for store and organize the information, the main thing is database and workspace comes to picture. So basically Metasploit use PostgreSQL as it is a backend database. This helps us to store, scan result, discovered host, services, and so on. Coming to workspace, workspace allows us to separate different projects and keeps the things organized. Alright, with the basics covered, let's talk about the lab setup. For lab work, we usually use Kali Linux as the attacker machine. Everyone aware about the Kali Linux. So in Kali Linux, Metasploit comes pre-installed. The victim machine can be the Windows VM or a Metasploitable 2 Linux machine. So in Metasploitable 2 Linux, there are some common vulnerabilities also all already presented. So it's easy to work in a lab. It's important to run everything inside the isolated network under NAT or a host only network. Once the environment is ready, we will follow a simple workflow. So these are the practical workflow we are going to through. The general workflow will be reconnaissance and scanning. That will be the initial step. For that, we can use nmap command to for the information gathering, the port details, services, the OS information, all the basic details we can get to know. And selecting an exploit, configuring the payload, running the exploit, getting a session, doing post exploitation. This is the same approach we use in the real world penetration testers. Now let me show you how this looks practically. So as we discussed previously, though you need to set up a Kali, Windows VM or Metasploit VM. The connection is so in this lab you are going to use SMTP for the exploitation and then MS Venom payload with the handler, multi-handler to exploit the command, and then the final will be the post exploitation and cleanup. So some of the useful commands. So as we previously discussed for MSF console, we can use search, use, set, exploit command to run the exploitation. In MSF Venom, we can create a payload with the help of localhost, localput, and the file format. For enumeration, we can use the nmap command for to get the details about the target port, service, version, and some of the common information. Comes to database, we can check the database status and the information stored in the database. So now let me show the how this looks practically. MSF console banner. So this is the MSF console banner. It basically shows how many modules are loaded and confirm that everything is working properly. So in this screenshot you can get to know. So inside the Kali Linux under the root I have run the command MSF console. It will take few seconds to load. It will shows like this. In the below you can able to see the Metasploit version, the exploit, the auxiliary, the post, payloads, encoders, knobs, eviction. So these are the module types. Now then we are going for the searching SMTP enumeration module. So here I'm searching for SMTP enumeration module. Metasploit instantly shows all the module to SMTP, so it saves the time. So but in the screenshot I have used the keyword SMTP enum, so it shows only two module, so don't get confused. So if you are searching as search SMTP, you will get to know multiple modules are there. So for the easy to get the model, so I use the keyword SMTP enum, so I use this model. So you can copy this model and paste it, or you can use the serial number 01. The model will refer that will be shown in the next slide. So now I'm going to use the SMTP module option command. So after selecting the module, I check the required option. This helps me know what needs to be configured before running it. So you can see here, I'm using the command use one, or you can copy the auxiliary and you can paste it also. That's our convenient. So with the help of show option, we will get to the module option. So ROS is nothing but the victim. R port is by default SMTP run in port 25. So there's one more command show info. The show info will provide the detailed explanation about the auxiliary module and along with the module option. The SMTP enumeration output. This is the output after running the enumeration. It connects successfully, grabs the banner and complete the scan. So the server is in active state. So we are going to MSF Venom banner. So inside the Kali, I'm typing under the root, I'm typing MSF Venom. So I will get the below screenshot. It will shows the options and the payload or in the MSF Venom. Now I'm going to create a payload. So I am gathering Windows reverse shell payload using MSF Venom. I have set localhost, local port, and the output file format. This give me a usable executable file. So in this case, you can see in the screenshot, I have run the command python 3 -m http server 8080. So because we are using the lab setup, so to deliver the payload to the Windows VM, we have few lab methods. So for example, upload via shared folder, or we can drag and drop to the Windows VM, or we can use a file share or HTTP download from the attacker host, or we can run directly from the VM if you have a console access. I'm using the method HTTP download. So I have created a file. So with the help of this link in the victim machine, we can download the file. Once it has been run, we can have the metadata session of the remote machine. So now we need to start the handler in MSF console to catch the result. So in the screenshot, you can get to know. So I can use the exploit multi-handler. So I need to set payload, set localhost, set local port, and run with the exploit command. So it will deliver the command and it will shows the metadata session. So under the shell, I will now I have the access for the metadata shell. So I will run the command who am I, or I can go to the folder or system info or the IP details, the command IP config. So everything I can be able to do. So in the screenshot shows a successful database session, they build executable on the target and connected back to me, giving full interactive access. The best practices when working with when working with Metasploit, always make sure you have authorization. Use isolated lab, document everything, and keep the tools updated. These are the simple but mandatory best practices. The reference and the resources. These are the reference I used mainly from Offset, Rapid7 and the official Metasploit documentation. This is very useful for everyone. Thank you for listening.